Hello and welcome to my first Pokemon related top 10. Or wait, oops, top 18. Today is all about the number 18. Pokemon had a bunch of different types since Generation 1. Back then, we only had 15 types. With Generation 2, we got 2 more, Steel and Dark, making the total amount of types 17. But with the introduction of the 6th generation of Pokemon, Game Freak officially announced the Fairy type, meaning that now the Pokemon franchise we all know and love has a total of 18 Pokemon types to choose from. Another reason why the number 18 is so important today is a personal one. Take a look at the calendar. What date is it? It's the 18th April, which is my birthday. Yeah, that's right, I am now 20 years old. So, am I too old for Pokemon now? Nobody is too old for Pokemon. And because it's my birthday today, I want to celebrate this by making a countdown. And on this special day of my life, I will tell you which types I like the most, from least favorite to favorite. Please keep in mind that this is solely my opinion and not yours, so yes, this list is completely biased. Although I have to admit that competitive has some influence here, but not entirely. I also look if the type is a cool concept in itself. If you don't agree with my list, which you don't have to, feel free to leave a comment. However, we have to exclude some types from this list. I will not include the Shadow type from Pokemon Colosseum or XD Gale of Darkness. The question mark type will also be excluded from this list. And lastly, there will be no glitch types, like for example Bird, Cool, Trainer, Female Symbol, yeah, you get my point. Another important thing to note is that these opinions are only derived from the main games. This excludes the spin-off Pokemon games as well as the anime. So, let's not waste any time and celebrate my 20th birthday with a countdown. Enjoy! Oh no, my least favorite type. Well, at least I get to explain why it sucks so much, so here it is, the worst type ever, Rock type! The Rock type is, in my opinion, a huge trolling attempt by Game Freak, and they succeeded. Let me explain. Rock deceives you into thinking that it can take any hit, because you know rocks are hard and durable, so logically, they would be good on the defensive side, right? Well, guess what, that's not the case. Most rock Pokemon may have good defense, but their special defense is most often bad to mediocre. Because of this, they easily get KO'd by water types due to the majority of water moves being special. Oh, and the rock type has 5 weaknesses. 5! And those weaknesses are common attacking types. Well, except Steel, but still. And that's not all. Rock Pokemon also have horrible speed. So it's often the case that your opponent who has super effective moves against you will attack first. Yeah, great type, huh? Now, some of you may say that the rock type is good on the offense. Well, yes, if you can endure the opponent's hit, that is. The only good thing about rock that comes to mind is Stealth Rock, but then again, a lot of non-rock Pokemon learn that move as well. Also, the advantage against fire types is not really that helpful, since a lot of fire types can learn moves such as Solar Beam. The concept itself is also boring. You're fighting against a rock. Whoa! I have never used any rock type Pokemon in any of my teams. That's saying a lot. Sorry rock, but you're just not my type. Pun intended. I know that a lot of people will disagree with me on this, but it has to be said. The poison type is bad. Okay, hear me out. In our world, poisonous animals are very dangerous, but in Pokemon this doesn't seem to be the case. Well, at least not entirely. To me, the poison type deceives you just like the rock type, it's just the other way around. With rock, you think it's good defensive wise, but it isn't. With poison, you think it's good on the offense, but guess what, it isn't. Poison is effective against grass and fairy. We have a ton of grass/poison type Pokemon, so that takes that advantage away. And fairy types, well, poison types have bad special defense stats, and fairy types have good special attack stats, so Another problem is that steel is immune to poison, and poison types can't really counter them. Yeah, I know, poison types are supposed to kill things slowly, right? Inflicting the poison status? Yeah, okay, fair enough. The poison status is common in competitive play, that's for sure, but you know what's the problem with this? Every single Pokemon that can learn a TM can learn Toxic. Every single one. So inflicting that poison status is not something you can brag about. Basically every Pokemon can kill things slowly and painfully, so what's the big deal with poison types?
Yeah, you forgot the poison moves that have additional effects that they get stabbed on it.
Yeah, okay, those are pretty nice, but if you rely on chance in order to poison your enemy, or if you rely on chance to win, that's just ridiculous.
You forgot the abilities that can poison by contact, like Poison Point.
Yeah, those are pretty good as well, but if your opponent is a pure special attacker, it doesn't matter anyway. Also, so many Pokemon have Toxic as a move, plus one of the poison's biggest weaknesses is the Psychic type, and most Psychic types are special. Oops. If you only have a good ability, that isn't enough, and not all poison types have that ability in the first place. So, in my opinion, the poison type is not a good type to use. Alright, it's time for a Pokemon battle. Are you ready?
Well, of course! I got everything covered.
Nice, so... Okay, I got Killer Dragon, Psychic Powers, Electricity, Fire Fury. Wow, it's so much to choose from. I don't know what to take.
I don't know, just take something.
Okay, go Kick-Ass Dragon!
Go, Pretty Flower!
What? Are you kidding?
No. Ever heard of flower power?
Really? Grass has to be one of the lamest types. You're battling plants. That doesn't sound threatening at all. I never really liked using grass that much, because like the rock type, it has 5 weaknesses. 5! And the advantage against water types is ruined by the fact that most water Pokemon can learn ice moves. The only reason why it is higher on the list than poison, despite having more weaknesses, is the fact that the grass type has some really good supporting moves like aromatherapy to make up for its bad defenses. Other good defensive moves are Leech Seed and Ingrain. On the offense though, grass moves aren't that great because so many types resist it. It can be used to get rid of ground types though. Another thing that I just don't understand is this. Why is it called grass in English? Why is it called grass type? Shouldn't it be called plant type? I mean, grass is just a type of plant, and in German, for example, it's actually called plant type. Oh, and Game Freak, please get this. Fungi are not plants. Fungi are classified as an own kingdom, separated from plants. They have completely different cellular structures. So why are all fungi Pokemon grass type? It just doesn't make any sense. Talking about boring types, there's the normal type. Yay! If your type is called normal, that's a pretty good indicator that it is going to be lame. It's so basic, I mean, it's not really bad, but it's mediocre. Normal types may have only one weakness and one immunity, but their only weakness, fighting, is very common, and that poses a huge threat to them. Normal types are also the worst offensive type ever, because normal type moves are never super effective. Furthermore, 2 types, Rock and Steel, resist it, and Ghost is immune to it. I have to say though that normal Pokemon have really large move pools, and there are a lot of useful normal type moves. Other than that, the normal type is bland. Get the newspaper, get the shoes, squish those nasty bugs. On this spot, we have the bug type, and quite frankly, I never really liked the bug type. And no, I am not one of these girls that are like, ew, a bug, how disgusting! The first thing that, bugs me about them is the fact that the franchise creator, Satoshi Tajiri, had a passion for insects. But the question remains, why are most bugs in his own game so weak? I mean, I never understood that. The bug type is not a good type in my opinion, because it gets resisted by 7 types. Not only that, most bug Pokemon have frail defenses, which doesn't help surviving super effective hits from their opponents. And what good is their advantage against psychic types, because we have a lot of bug/poison Pokemon. The bug type is only good when it is paired with other types that take away some of their weaknesses. Oh, and Game Freak, why are Ariados and Galvantula bug type? Spiders are not bugs, they are arachnids. Wait a second. Crabs aren't bugs either. And what is this? Game Freak, basic biology. No, I hate the cold! The ice type is a really special one. On the one hand, its offensive side is really good, because it's good against commonly used types in the competitive metagame, such as ground and dragon. On the other hand, it is the worst type defensively. It only resists itself, and it has 4 weaknesses, all of which are commonly used types. Because of this, I don't really like to use ice Pokemon that much. But I do love moves such as Ice Beam. It's one of the best moves in the game, so I just stick to that. Thank you very much. This type sure knows how to throw a punch, because it's the fighting type. The fighting type is not a bad type by any means. This type is super effective against 5 types, but it also gets resisted by 5. This type has some really good attacks such as Close Combat and Aura Sphere. The big problem with this type, however, is the fact that most fighting Pokemon have mediocre special defense, which means that psychic types will easily shred them into bits. Fairies pose the same problem for them since Generation 6. Additionally, I don't really like most of the designs. Some are really cool, but most are... meh. The following type can be summarized in one word. Earthquake! The ground type is a double-edged sword. It's super effective against 5 types, but defensively speaking, it's not so great. Water types pose a huge threat to it, and there are a lot of water types out there. Ground is immune to electric, but flying is immune to ground. Earthquake is a good move and it hits really hard with its power of 100, but remember that there are a lot of flying types out there and Pokemon with the ability Levitate. All in all, I'd say that the ground type is an okay type, but if you want to use it, please use it defensively. There are some groundbreaking Pokemon out there waiting to be used. The ghost type is a type where I wish that Game Freak would do more with it. It's a good type, being only resisted by dark and being super effective against psychic and itself for some reason. It also has a nice immunity to normal and fighting, which is very useful. All things considered, it's a good type. I especially like Rotom, Jellicent, Chandelure and Giratina. However, some ghost types are freaking annoying, such as Aegislash, or however you pronounce that, Cofragigus, if that's right, and Dusknoir. And I hate Confuse Ray. The only really dumb thing about this type is the fact that there are not a lot of ghost type Pokemon out there. It's a shame, really. I don't really know how I should feel about the dark type. I like a lot of their designs, but I don't like to face them in a battle. The Dark type is immune to Psychic, and it resists itself and Ghost. Dark types however hate to face fighting Pokémon, bugs and fairies, because they drain their health pretty quickly. What I don't like about this type is the fact that they are cheaters. A Dark type uses unfair means in order to win, and I can't stand that. In Japan, this type is actually known as the Evil type, so that's not a big surprise then. Wait a minute, Cheater, Dark type. Cheetah, Dark type. Cheetah, Dark type. I see what you did there, Game Freak. Something I always wanted to be able to do was flying. Humans can't fly unfortunately, but the concept of flying is still awesome. The flying type is a pretty good type. It is very well balanced, being strong against 3 types and weak against 3 types. On top of that, it has an immunity to ground, which is always welcome. In triple battles, the majority of flying type moves are able to hit every Pokémon on the field, which is really cool. I play triples a lot, so this is really helpful. The only bad things about the flying type is that it is weak against Stealth Rock, which is commonly used in competitive play, and its weaknesses are types that are very good on the offensive side, and they are common as well. But other than that, it's a nice type to have. Except Fire Flying and Bug Flying. These type combinations are crippled when the opponent has Stealth Rock. Speaking of fire, I like warm over cold, and fire is not an exception. Fire is good against 4 types. Add this to their often good defensive stats, and you get a potent defensive type. In the defense department, it is said that fire is a bad type, which in my opinion is not the case because fire resists 6 types. Fire is also a better version of poison. Every Pokémon can learn Toxic, so being poisoned is not a privilege that only poison Pokémon have. However, not every Pokémon can burn the opponent, so that makes fire and the burn status more special to me. See Poison, why can't you be this awesome? The only thing that keeps this type from being any higher is the fact that its weaknesses, like water and ground, are pretty common in competitive play. Especially water. You can still give them Solar Beam for countering them, but Stealth Rock will, nonetheless, give you a hard time. Being a type weak to fire, but overall better than fire, we have the Steel type, which in my opinion should be called the Metal type, but whatever. Steel Pokémon have amazing defenses. Steel is essentially the good version of Rock. Rock, eat your heart out, because this is what a defensive type should look like. Yeah, look at these resistances! Steel resists 10 out of the 18 types, making them literally hard to beat. And even though it lost 2 resistances, Ghost and Dark, with the introduction of Generation 6, it is still the best defensive type to date. And if that's not enough, they are immune to poison. Offensive wise, it's not as bad as people make it out to be. The Steel type is good against 3 types, Ice, Rock and Fairy. It being good against Fairy and them resisting it makes them a dangerous wall to use against Fairies. Heck, they can nearly wall everything. Well, except fire, ground and fighting, but hey, nobody's perfect, am I right? Being on the subject of fairies, the fairy type was the new type introduced in Pokémon X and Y. I still remember how people went nuts when the type was introduced. Fairy type? That's gay! Okay, numbnut, listen up. First, using the word gay in a pejorative way is not okay. Second, you don't know how awesome fairies can be. Fairies can be butch as well. I must say that I really like this type. Fairy is good against Dragon, Dark and Fighting. It is also completely immune to Dragon type attacks, so if someone has a choice Specs Draco Meteor coming, you can easily switch into your adorable little fairy. A lot of people don't understand why fairies are good against dragons, so I am just going to show you this.
The sword of truth flies swift and sure, that evil die and good endure.
The designs are also amazing. Froggus is absolutely gorgeous. Sylveon is also a cool design, and just about every fairy Pokemon looks really good. I like the type on this spot because it reminds me of science, and science is awesome. It's the electric type. Electric is an awesome type. It has only one weakness, which is ground, and it is super effective against two types, flying and water, which are extremely common. The bad thing is that ground is also a common type, but hey, it only has one weakness, and there's still a move called Magnet Rise, which takes care of that pretty quickly. I also love the move Thunderbolt. You can sweep so many water and flying Pokemon with this move. I prefer this over Thunder because at least Thunderbolt doesn't miss all the time. Electric types are fast and have great special attack, which makes them a welcome addition to your team. Electric is good against water, but I still like water even more. I love using the water type. Most starters I pick are water starters. The Piplup line are the best starters in my opinion. So why is the water type so awesome? Let's look at it in further detail. The water type is good against fire, ground and rock. Fire and ground are very common, so this is extremely helpful. Water resists 4 types, which really comes in handy. It's only weak against 2 types, and it resists 4 types. See? Water is awesome. Oh, and that grass weakness is not a problem at all. Almost every water Pokemon learns moves like Ice Beam, like I said before. Water Pokemon also have better stats than grass types, so the only thing they should fear are electric types. Which doesn't make sense. What is a pro-electric conductor? Oh well, I think I should stop bringing science into Pokemon. I think that by now some of you have already shaken their heads or rolled their eyes, because they know what my top 2 favorite types are. And by saying what type I have for this spot, you already know my number 1 pick. Make room for the kick-ass dragon type! No one can deny this. Dragons are awesome. Dragons are badass. How badass are dragons? They had to make an entire new type to counter it. That's how cool it is. The dragon type, even with the fairy type not being there to counter them, is still an amazing type to use. Sure, they are only super effective against themselves, they can't do scratch to fairy types and are resisted by steel types, but they also are good defensively. Dragons resist 4 extremely common types: water, fire, grass and electric. The only things that make them cringe are fairies, ice Pokemon and other dragons. And if you still think that they have a problem with the newly established metagame, then think again. Dragons have amazing stats. Dragons are also blessed with amazing move pools. Lastly, almost every dragon has an awesome design, but what can be better than this? Most of you know it already, and I will skip the recap and go straight to number 1. I don't need to hype this up, there's only one type left. It's the psychic type. I know what you're thinking and I'm going to answer it. Hey, you only like Psychic and Dragon because you're Ladia's fangirl! My answer, no. It's the other way around. One of the reasons why I love Latias is because it has those two types. I always liked them. So why do I like Psychic? Well, let me explain. First off, Psychic dominated the first gen. No type could match it. You thought Dragon was powerful? It was nothing against the Psychic type. Dragons had to be nerfed by introducing one type, but Psychic was so good that Game Freak had to invent 2 new types. That's an accomplishment. I also have wonderful memories of this type, because I remember being the only girl in elementary school who played Pokémon. Usually boys played it, and when they saw me holding a Game Boy, they made fun of me. Oh, girls are bad at video games! So of course, I challenged them into a battle. I figured out pretty quickly that the Psychic type was the best one in the game, so what did I do? I set up 2 Amnesias and I swept their teams one by one. They couldn't do anything. It was so hilarious how I won against one boy after another, and they broke down in tears because a girl beat them at Pokemon. Yeah, they all hated me after that, but that's a price you have to pay in order to be a Pokemon master, right? The concept of this type is also awesome. I always wanted to pick up objects with my mind. Who doesn't? Telepathy is also a very interesting concept. If you look at the Psychic type today, you may think that it's not such a good type anymore. It has 3 weaknesses, Dark is immune to it, and it's only good against 2 types. Well, those 2 types are very common in competitive play, especially fighting, and those types usually have bad special defense to begin with, so those 2 are pushovers for the Psychic type. What most people don't realize is the fact that Psychic types can very well defend themselves. They have an amazing defensive move pool. Amnesia, Barrier, Trick Room, Gravity, Rest, Calm Mind, Hypnosis, Cosmic Power, Light Screen, Magic Code, Reflect, etc, etc. And for Dark types there's a move called Miracle Eye. Another thing I just love about the Psychic type is the fact that it is associated with space, and I love space. Jirachi, Deoxys, Solrock and Lunatone, for example, are obviously space Pokemon, and they all have the Psychic type. Caitlin's room in Black and White also showcases this, as well as the Generation 6 Psychic type gym. There are also a lot of legendary Pokemon that are Psychic or part Psychic type. Why? Because the type is awesome! Apart from the legendaries, the Psychic type gives us some awesome designs and cool Pokemon. The Psychic type is, still to this day, my favorite type. My name is Jana, thank you for watching, and until next time!